Peace, peace, peace. Day 22 in the 30 days of enlightenment. Upgrade your consciousness. Super excited. In today's video, we're going to discuss a brief observation on male and female energy. Yes, super excited. So let's jump all up into this. So when we understand male and female energy, we understand contrast. Now we spoke a little bit about the polarity in earlier days. These fundamentals hold hands, So when it comes to male and female energy, we have to understand that all beings on the planet are embodying these two energies in some varying amounts than others. Now, sometimes people consider that because one looks or appears as a male that they are representing or embodying masculine energy. But that is not always the case because there are different forms of both energies, masculine and feminine, and there are also different polarities within each of them. So there are different polarities of the masculine energy and different polarities of the feminine energy. So what are different polarities of the masculine energy? Well, we can understand a toxic masculine from the wording imbalanced masculine. So what would that look like? Well, that kind of, to me, if you want to make me to pick pictures, I would say it looks something like wars or large levels of tyranny and oppression and ruthless greed and things of that nature, even though they might not be exemplified in forms of oppressive physical abuse or anything like this, as they used to observe like this in wars and things. There are still different levels of that same form of pressure. And that to me is an example of that. All right, so we could basically see in the masculine energy there are polarities, and we want to be balanced in energy. The reason why I'm bringing this to us to understand is that each of us, male and female, both have the balance of masculine and feminine energy. When a male is by himself, the essence of the creator is within him as a voice, as a source, as a fountain. All right, and we could call that a lot of things. And that presence of energy is there because when a male is by himself, that is energy. And in that form of that feminine form of that energy, we call it God, we call it intuition, and because it represents itself in different forms. As we reverence it in different observations, we understand it as ourself, because when man is alone, the context of alone is false, because in this world of life, the spirit form is that connection with God. So you can never be alone if you really subtle and understand that you are always one in form with the creator. So that's just an observation. So now let's realize that everybody has this balance of energy, and what we're observing right now is those female balance in the polarity, meaning that their physical representation is also feminine, meaning that their body type is a female type, right? Women, this is the word we use to explain that. Men, that's the word we use to explain the masculine. But the way that society illustrates word, it kind of illustrates that there is only what it's saying. So men only are men, but that's not the truth, because a male is only one, because at the time of birth and conception, the genitalia changed form from the female form and it became a male. So even outside of that context, men are birthed from women. So if you observe a man, you're observing all the energy of his mother, even if his mother's not present, because that's the investment of the energy. So you can never really have a man by himself, even though we are individuals. But that's the I in man, the individual. And that's the exemplification of that energy. You have to excuse me, seeing like the birds are fighting at the window. It's for everybody, but it's like y'all fighting. I don't know why. This is crazy. I heard that. But boom. So the feminine aspect of this, right, is the source. It feels like home. It is the energy of home. And this is very basically the am and the I am, because it's the form that is waiting to take shape around the I, basically, in the context. Because the individual, when you look at a person, the way that the person's mind is formed is about their identity and what their identity makes them do. So it's almost about the discipline and what actions come out of that in the form. in the form of observation. So why am I bringing this, and why is this today's video? It's today's video because we are noticing a shift in the feminine energy. Now, the shift in the feminine energy that we're noticing is not just for women, and it's not just for that observation that is for women. It's for everybody, every being, all planet, everything on the planet, in the planet herself. Because the planet herself is representing the feminine form, and our ability to move and maneuver and illustrate life is our representation of the discipline to her. So we're noticing that not only are men, at least I can speak from the context of intuitives, are becoming more attuned with their energy. They're also representing and respecting and also honoring their energy in the presence of all. That's something that's happening right now. And now also I'm also observing that women, in case of the feminine polarity, they are actually standing and feeling more fed up in the context of whatever their situation is. They've had enough, and it's just more about taking that. It's more about taking an action outside of anybody else's regards. It's really like choosing for yourself and really feeling really guided and really feeling trust in the action that you actually taken. And that's what I'm noticing, not just in my own personal life or the women in my personal life, but that's what I'm noticing in general, just as a guideline energy, as this moment at least. This is 23rd, 22nd January. So, and that's what I'm noticing. And this happened all around the world. And this is the reason why we're learning and becoming more in the form of home energy, which is the essence of love. And that's the reason why we're putting the term ascension, because the essence of God is the essence of love in the form of words and expression in the language, hierarchy language, basically. And what I'm noticing is that people are becoming more of the energy of love. This is the reason why self-identification is important, because when you recognize the essence of God, then you recognize it in others. And you just see it all the time, basically. We'll get to that too. But yeah, that's what I wanted to share with y'all, family. It's really important too, because society always illustrates things to never be together. And that's the language. The language does it by itself. So it's not even that people are actually trying to do this, but it's that the language guides the mind, and the mind is only guided by the language it can perceive through picture. So the picture of the English language illustrates divide by itself. Now you got to use the words to bring harmony and bring situations together, basically. But in the form of this energy, it's like we have to start listening inside, basically, because society is only out here at this moment to inflame the element of the toxic masculine, which is the logical part of the brain. Because now we want to bring it back to us. We can see that the yin-yang symbol, if you watch the last video, symbology, the yin-yang symbol illustrates perfectly the divine balance between masculine and feminine energy, also being the core of one another. Because if a brother is all by himself somewhere, I understand that to be in the presence of God, because the presence of the intuition is the presence of divine wisdom, and that's no one around. So that illustrates the feminine presence, because you have to be soft and subtle to listen. This silence that you listen for, you understand? So, you know, you can't have a clouded and a loud mind and hear silence. That's the reason why the world is always trying to say some shit. Always something going on. Always something coming up next, and always somebody else being elected, and always something else, and always something, and always something. And today's this day, and this, and they're always saying some shit because they're trying to run the script and make sure you keep running with it. And it's like, damn, slow down a minute. Damn, the world's fucking running. Damn, these niggas ain't tired. Damn. And now they're out of balance. So that's the reason why you can see how they inflame the toxic perception of females in the perception of men, or women in the perception of men, through media, through movies, and things of that nature. So that also transforms the psychological observation of what they consider to be a woman, because the psychological observation that they're giving is that these two elements are separate. They are trying to teach the world that men don't belong with women, and then they're trying to make it seem like there's only happening in the movies, and this is the reason why people don't get along. And they show, like, you know, they show particular pictures. Y'all ain't noticed the fucking pictures they consistent with? I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? And it first started through invading resources and then getting financial hold on the situation, and also the process of mental enslavement. So taking things out of the hands of the people involved to even transform the situation brings tension amongst those people, male and female. Then that's why they say, oh, then the I don't even want to go into those pictures, but y'all know the slave stories that they used to remember. I don't remember them, so I'm not trying to really remember them that much, because they ain't shit anyways. Right now, we in the power and doing all the shit we want to do now, and we trying to remember some old-ass pictures. What you want to see back there? I ain't going back there. I want to tell y'all this. When we start to recognize the discipline and the feminine energy, the woman herself, she's going to start representing this in a different way. And it's not necessarily in the form of discipline that we hear in the words. It's more about what discipline represents in the energy form, because it could be any type of form that word discipline is taking shape for. It might just be a different level of self-identification. That could just be a discipline. It doesn't have to be like a tiring work or a discipline working out or something like this. It could be a mental shift that is so subtle that it's stable and foundational that that's all the word is supposed to, you know. So I wanted to bring in this concept of male and female energy, because we can see that I don't want to go into the balance of both and what each one looks at. They're both poles. That's not what the interest of this video was. But we can definitely go into this more in depth and talk more about the male and female energy. And also, let's see if I wanted to show anything else. I mean, when the male and female energy are in the same accord, they're in a flow. You know what I'm saying? It's really it's the rise and fall of the sun. It's the tide and the flow of the ocean. It's all of the things that are in motion all the time. That's what the energy. That's why it picks up energy. That's the reason why they're able to put a dam where water is flowing and harvest energy, because the feminine and masculine polarities and magnetic poles are moving the water, allowing the water to flow, and then allowing some essence to basically captivate the energy. Ocean got all these animals captivating the energy, all these molecules and sea moss growing in the ocean, all things. Then you got hydroponic or hydro power systems generating electricity off that same energy. The energy of the kit together, the masculine and feminine, just fucking explode everything. Everything come to be. Everything come to life, because it bring life to everything, because that's the energy of God. So that's what I wanted to share. And we all have this energy simultaneously in us right now, and the feminine aspect is actually divinely finding herself in a divine place with her own perception right now, and that's super excited. I feel like it's awesome. I could feel it too, and I've been noticing it, because that's been the type of time for like the last few years. I would say like the last 2 years, it's been all about that type of strengthening the feminine intuition and the aspect of listening, and also the aspect of listening to the things that you've already created, like listening to your business. What does your business need? Listening. What your family need? How do you going to create this harmony in this relationship? What does a relationship need? Listening. That's feminine energy. And that's what it's been about for a little bit. And it's harmonizing. It's bringing a balance to everything. And I love it. I love it. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all, family. And yeah, so get yourself in the flow, because it's like the dance. It's like the 8. You know what I'm saying? It's infinite flow. You know, it's like the dance, like the 8. There's infinite flow. That's why it's like the ocean. It's like the waves. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'll paint some more pictures for y'all, man. Day 22. Super excited for you to be in relationship with the truth. Super excited. All right, with that being said, I appreciate y'all, man. I'm going to talk to y'all next video. Day 23 coming up next. You did. Talk to y'all. Peace.